So quick overview of Docker. Um, so here I want to give you two elevator pitches. One, if you need to convince, let's say, a coworker who might be a developer or sysadmin, and another which is more like high level for CTOs, CIOs, and I would say less technical folks. So first, the high level view, like if you need to convince somebody who is not daily involved in the development trenches. So why do we care about containers? Well, because we moved from those big monolithic applications that we would deploy every few months and where every deployment was a kind of big event. We moved from that to this microservices train. So now instead of having one big monolith to deploy, we have many smaller services, and instead of deploying once every 3 months, we deploy every week, sometimes every day, sometimes multiple times a day. So we have to make that deployment even something eventless, something painless, something not risky. We need to be able to push a button and know that things are going to be deployed without having to worry, is everything gonna break again? Another thing that has changed is the way that we scale things. 10 to 15 years ago, scaling meant, oh, I'm gonna call my vendor and ask for a bigger server, and once I order the biggest server that money could get, then maybe I have to start thinking about the load balancer and things like that. Today it's completely different. Today we start about adding servers and load balancing from the very beginning, for most applications, if we know that they are going to receive traffic. So it means that our deployment environment now looks something like this. We have many components, many services, and we want to deploy them on many different environments. I have this Linux laptop, I have a Mac laptop over there, we might have Windows machines, we have servers, like physical machines in the closet, in the data center, we have cloud VMs, etc., etc. So it creates this kind of big matrix from hell, as we call it, where each line is a thing I need to deploy: my website, my API backend, my user management system, my database, etc. And each column is an environment where I want to deploy that. And we have some good solutions in some scenarios. Like if I do Java, then jar files are great. I can deploy them anywhere pretty easily. And the other way around, if I'm working with VMware, for instance, then using a VMDK VM image file is a good deployment artifact. I can just get that image file and I can put it on any VMware hypervisor. But we don't really have a solution that fits every line, every column. So here there is the container metaphor comes from the actual shipping container that transformed the physical shipping industry a while ago, where instead of having different boxes and different packaging things for different kinds of goods, somebody had the genius idea of putting everything in a box that had a standard size, but not only a standard size, but also like standard hooks and locking mechanisms, etc. So you can stack them, and so if you know how to move one of these containers, then you don't have to worry about what's in it. It could be pianos or coffee or anything. You don't care. You just move containers around. And the other way around, when you want to get something shipped from city A to city B, once you put it in a container, you don't have to worry whether it's going to go in planes or ships or trains or trucks, etc. And that gave birth to the mondialization and global economy, etc., which, depending on how we look at things, could be good or bad, but at least from a cost reduction perspective, that was a pretty big improvement. So the idea of containers, now if we go back to our containers, is to do the same thing but for software. So have a kind of container thing in which I can put anything. I can put a web front end. It could be Python, Ruby, Java, Go, Node, whatever. I could put a database, a queue, anything. I put that in that container, and then my ops team can run that container anywhere. Well, first I could run that container on my local development machine, but my ops team can run that in our QA environment, in our CI, in our pre-production environment, in production, whether this is on cloud or physical machines, etc., etc. And this is the solution to this matrix from hell. Now we have a single artifact that can hold any kind of software component and that can run anywhere. This is like a bunch of like super impressive and yay results from people who have successfully implemented containers. It's just a bunch of links, so I'm just gonna skip that quickly.